Warning, the following program is rated 80s and will not be suitable for some audiences. It will contain weaponized gymnastics, acrobatic archery, corridor running, and dirty, evil pinko communism. Listener discretion is advised. And now, Rated 80s presents Comics on Film. All right, coming at you almost live from the hilltop of the gritty city, broadcasting in 2.53 glorious stereophonic Mookie vision from beneath the all-seeing eye of the Shackelford diffusion system. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Comics on Film. I am your host, Jeremy Whitman, with my co-host, my own personal Big Hero 6, Mr. Rusty. How's it going, Rusty?
Pretty good. I can't complain.
Our episode, this episode is Gymkata.
Yes.
The story of a man born to mixed Japanese and American parentage after World War II who faced racism in his daily life for being a half-breed. They would call him half-breed. Oh, no, that's the other Gymkata. Yeah, that's the other Gymkata where he overcomes the racism by beating up gypsies with Gymkata karate, merging East and West. This movie is much worse than that. This is your pick. This is your first balls-out pick for the podcast.
It was my answer to your Dead Heat.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this was. It was a really crappy movie.
Dead Heat.
Yeah.
I was told by you that Jesus will forgive you for any sin except making you watch Dead Heat. You did not like that film.
It was bad. It was really, really bad.
I got news for you, motherfucker. This is not a cinematic work of art.
Oh, yeah, it is.
That we are talking about
amazing.
today. Let's talk about your history with this film. I had no idea this existed until recently. Red Letter Media got a hold of this recently somehow. And they talked about it. And then you, who doesn't often look at the Red Letter Media stuff.
I've never have.
Yeah, just knew about this abortion of a movie.
They would, when I was a kid, they used to play this. I loved anything kung fu, like a proper American kid does.
Like every white boy.
Yeah. This and not Enter the Dragon, although that's a good movie. We'll get back to the way I brought that up. But this and, damn it, the dragon, you just said it, Bruce Leroy.
Bruce Leroy, The Last Dragon.
Last Dragon.
Show enough.
Okay.
Show enough I know that title.
Kiss my converse. Anyways, so this, and for some reason, The Last Dragon were just in huge rotation with me when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
I know that TBS was in love with Gymkata.
Oh, yeah?
It really was.
That's totally in Ted Turner's wheelhouse. He has some interesting cinematic tastes.
Yeah, it was like...
It was
pre-Shawshank.
Pre-Beastmaster.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. But that
and the Red Sonja.
Crazy.
Boy, that Ted Turner has a hard-on for barbarian movies.
Now, do you think he's actually responsible for the programming? I know he was responsible.
I think he's such a crazy person, or was when he took a more active role, that he would just wander in, say some insane stuff, and people would have to interpret it, and then he'd walk out. I want to see Beastmaster every Tuesday at 10 p.m. for the rest of my life, and they just vanish. And then they'd have to program the whole rest of the station. Then he'd come back a week later. You know what? On one of our channels, everything ends at 5 after, starts at 5 after.
Yeah.
He just crazy decisions. I want to fuck a mermaid. Then he walks out.
Did he say, let's play a Little Mermaid? What is he? All right.
Yeah.
Play a Little Mermaid. Yeah, I know that he went on record about Shawshank.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I absolutely love that. So they played Shawshank incessantly, which isn't bad. Mm-hmm. There's worse movies to pick. But I think, the Beastmaster and this one was on there. I'm pretty sure that's where I first saw it.
Yeah.
Almost positive, yeah.
I get the idea Ted Turner was a bit of a wheeler and dealer. Like, he'd see, I'd get the rights for Beastmaster for $3,000 indefinitely. I'm totally doing that. That sort of thing. Like, cheap movie rights. They're the ones that played, A Christmas Story Into the Ground, one of Ted Turner's channels. But it's a great movie. He had a good eye for things that really... And now
sometimes, it's now no matter what, in Christmas time, there's one that plays the marathon of it.
Yeah, one of the Ted
4
Turner
days straight.
stations, runs it.
So maybe he was just ahead of his time. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But
he's also responsible for the 700 Club and Oral Roberts. Believe it or not, he taught those guys broadcasting and then came to regret it.
Oh, okay, you regretted it.
Yeah,
okay,
he was very upset.
Right. Yeah. I'd be fucking upset,
But in a lot of ways, Turner was a visionary. Baseball, one team on nationally, I don't think was ever done before Ted Turner. The Atlanta Braves baseball was all over,
Because he's a Braves fan, or did he own them?
He's from Atlanta.
Shit.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Ted
Futurama.
Turner.
Most of what I know about Ted Turner comes from a Futurama episode where they go to Atlanta, but it's Atlantis, and Ted Turner lives there. Yeah.
Nice. But Gymkata, yeah, I watched it a lot when I was a kid because it was on there, and then it fell into this weird hole, right? So I watched it a lot when I was a teenager, when I was like 13, 14, a whole bunch, because I just flip through the channels and be a fat kid eating chips on the couch. And then it went through this weird phase. As I got older, people forgot about this movie or didn't have any clue that it existed. And I used to challenge people as new friends. Like, I'd meet somebody I thought was cool and hang out with them for a little bit, and then I'd be like, have you heard of this movie Gymkata? And they're like, what? And then I tried to explain it.
If they said no, you'd kill them and bury them in the backyard.
Yeah. I would try to explain it to them, though. And explaining this movie it's pretty hard.
You can explain it now, I think, better than you could explain it 10 years ago, because now loving bad things is a thing that almost everyone does.
Yeah,
or certain subsections of people, there's become an industry which we are a part of, where we talk about just insane cinema, and there's a lot of people that love it. And this is one that I'd never heard of this until Red Letter Media mentioned it. Like, oh, that looks really bad and horrible. And then you're like, I love that movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did you watch the Red Letter Media thing? You're like, no, it was a huge part of my childhood.
So I repeatedly asked people all the way through my teenage years, and for some reason, right around the time the hipsters started coming around, around the time I was like 24, 25, and then all of a sudden...
Oh, the proto-hipsters. Yeah, the PBR drinkers down in Portland with their goddamn dark black hair, no matter what color their eyebrows were.
The original hipster. Yeah, those kids. Like, for some reason, all of a sudden, then now everybody started to know about it. And it was just like, you know about this? And I remember the guy's name was Jeff outside of a bar. He was the first dude that I'd talked to in probably 7 years, 8 years that hadn't even fucking heard of it at all. And I lost my mind. I was like, we're best friends now. And he stopped talking to me. But it's not like it was a kismet or anything. I'm a little heartbroken.
Gymkata ruined your friendship. I'll tell you, this is, I try not to cheat on our movies, right? Like, I try and take a pretty good look at our movies. And like this one, I was coming off, I've been doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe some people haven't been playing the home game, because we've been off the air for a while, too. I moved. I got a new job. I'm working on learning some new skills in my personal life. So I can get out of the new job that I hate and I don't want to have that I have.
Had to set up a sex swing.
I set up a sex swing. We built the Shackleford diffuser. I started doing all this research on different ways of sound diffusion techniques, sound absorption, sound diffusion. And also, on top of all that, they started making me go to some actual training for my work, 8 hours a week. I started working nights, 10 hours, 10-hour days, night shifts, then an 8-hour day shift, swing around, do that. And I was running the Ask an Atheist show for 5 weeks in a row. And we managed to hold the podcast together. But all at the tail end of all of that, in like the first week that I really did a lot of 10-hour shifts, like hardcore 10-hour shifts at night. And then the next day I got up and went to a class, and then I turned on Gymkata, and I got about 7 minutes into it before I went, I'm going to kill Rusty, and I'm going to have to find a new co-host. In movies, I was in a bad mood. I will say, well, what mood I am in when I watch a movie. I was fighting with my lesbian wife when I went to go see Gravity. Hate that movie.
I love that.
Hate it. Everyone loves it, but I'm like, yeah, it's a cinematic masterpiece, but I was having a really hard relationship battle when I saw it, and no Gravity. I've since watched it, and I come to like it. But that's the situation with me and Mr. Gymkata.
So you just hated it right off the get.
I was really upset. If I'd have found it on TNN, as opposed to having, sought out a copy of Gymkata and put it in and go, okay, the next 2 hours of my life are going to be watching. Here's how I cheated on you, audience. Here's what I did.
All right.
I found out, I was looking at it on VLC, I'm going, oh my God, I can't believe this is, it's giving me such anger, and is there some way to make this not take that long? Because you were supposed to come over, and we were supposed to do the podcast right as soon as the movie was done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I will not have time to process it or anything. And I start clicking through all the VLC menus. Did you know you can just speed up video in VLC?
That's totally cheating.
I cheated. I amped this movie up to 1.6 times its regular speed. You could still understand the words.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, despite that speed ramp, I found almost none of the martial arts impressive. I kept forgetting
No,
that I
it's-
had speed ramped it, so I kept thinking it was running at normal speed because it's that painfully boring that even at running almost double its speed. But I would watch, and I was like, even the martial arts just look normal. I'd remember because they'd run down a hallway really fast because there is a lot of hallway running in this travesty. And then they get to punching people and stuff, and I'd go, hey, they're running down the hallway really quick. Oh yeah, you turned up the speed. Then I watched the karate. I'm like, what? It should be like Bruce Lee speeds, but it's last season of Walker Texas Ranger speeds.
Oh God, it is.
So, do you know the legend of Gymkata? How this came to be?
I've heard. I think you kind of explained it to me a little bit. Like the guy got. He couldn't do the Olympic. Tell him because I can't.
I'm not super well versed in I didn't, buy the book down at the Borders, the Gymkata coffee book with the production notes.
No, it's actually based on a book called The Game.
I know that's crazy too. It's an adaptation.
Not to be confused with the Ice-T movie Surviving the Game.
Surviving the Game, based on a different book that everyone has to read in 8th grade, like a condensed. I think those are like the literature books they give you in junior high.
Yeah, like Hatchet.
Yeah,
or My Side of the Mountain.
I feel like those are Reader's Digest versions. The Most Dangerous Game is a very famous short story.
I haven't
Oh yeah, where a man hunts people, and that's the Ice-T.
Oh,
Ice-T? Ice-T, yeah.
Ice-T,
not
yeah.
Ice Cube.
Not
Ice
Ice
Cube
Cube.
drives an RV through it with his family.
Yeah.
Fucking sellout.
Could have been better with guns.
Yeah. So, America and Russia didn't very much like each other going into World War II. I'm just going to go as far back. Yeah.
We're just doing
they
a
didn't
full-on
much
history
like
lesson.
each other, but they knew dealing with each other was like a necessary evil
Yeah,
so that we could beat those goddamn Nazis.
because we had the bombs.
We eventually
we had the
finally
metal.
got the bomb. Yeah, I mean, but the Nazi thing was fairly terrifying, I've heard.
Rumors.
Yeah, I've heard tell of World War II being shitty and horrible, and it's the closest thing to a modern era empire coming and taking the whole world.
Yeah.
And with the Japanese and the Germans and all that. And so we dealt with Russia, but there was always kind of a lot of tension. And then we got the scientists, and we did the math, and we made the nuclear weapons, and then we dropped them on the Japanese because we needed to see if they would work. I think we were close enough.
We knew they would work. We knew they would work.
Well,
that
we
wasn't why
dropped
they
two
did it.
different kinds of them to see, compare and contrast.
Yeah.
And at that point, we already knew that we were not going to be great friends with Russia because they were going into that socialist thing and doing all kinds of horrible Nazi-esque stuff as well.
Yeah.
And it kicked off a nuclear arms race because from what I understand, Russia did not know if it was possible and did not have the money to sink into building that bomb. They'd just been fighting a war with Germany right there next to Germany for a long time.
Yeah.
A long time. And they had some empire building stuff to do. And the advice that I have heard that was given to the president by the scientists, this advice might not have ever made it to the Truman. Was it Truman who dropped the bomb?
Yeah.
Yeah? We'll get to Gymkata in a minute.
No.
All right?
I'm
This is some
a
edutainment.
World War II buff, and you're skipping over tons of great details.
Torah, totally don't have time.
I know.
So the scientist writes a letter, goes, don't do it. It's going to encourage a nuclear arms race if we just sit on our hands and take the Japanese the rest of the way down with our military as opposed to bombing their two cities. It'd be better.
Yeah.
But they did it, and that kicked off the nuclear arms race.
Yeah.
And then we go, we don't like you people. We're not going to do an Olympics that's in your country.
Mm-hmm.
And we had an Olympian, apparently by the name of, what's his name in the movie?
Kurt Thomas.
Kurt Thomas?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a guy who's already, his gymnastics up, he's going to do it, and he seems like a fairly marketing savvy guy to begin with. And it's got to be kind of a heartbreaker.
Yeah.
To be all ready to go and do your Olympics, and then somebody's like, oh, yeah, Mommy and Daddy are having a marriage fight, and Mommy's having the Olympics at her house, so we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Even you only have so many shots at that, too. It's a short window as an Olympian.
Yeah.
Right? It's not, if you're a novelist, maybe you get good when you're 40 or 50, but if you're a guy who swings his hips around a pommel horse, you can't, you're really good at it, and then you're worn out your body, and you can't do it anymore, and you coach it,
Yeah, you're done.
And so he's like, I got to seize this opportunity. What do people like? It's the 80s. Horrible, horrible movies.
They like gymnastics, and they like karate.
Nobody particularly likes gymnastics. But
I like to watch women's
I need a gimmick
but...
to get... I always forget that Gypsy cursed you, and if you don't you don't reaffirm your heterosexuality every 8 seconds, you will vanish into a cloud
female.
of smoke. You said women's gymnastics.
Oh, I did, didn't I?
You did.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, it's okay. Whatever gymnastics you like watching, I'm sure it's for the form and everything. I watch gymnastics for the articles.
Uh-huh.
So, this marketing savvy cat, he's done a few other things in his life, like writing books and stuff. He wanted to be a celebrity of some sort, maybe help people out. He's like, I'll put together gymnastics, karate, and make a movie.
Yeah.
And now we have this forever.
Yeah, I think it was just like it was kind of they threw him a bone because he didn't actually get to go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just summarized your long tirade. No, not a bad thing.
Oh.
I was making sure everyone else could follow it too.
Now I'm like, should I just cut out those 8 minutes?
No. It was great. It was great World War II talk.
I realized how poorly it paid off. And then so he made this movie.
Yeah.
Huh.
No, I mean, they threw him a bone because they fucked him. I think that's exactly what happened.
I don't think it was like the Olympic Committee was
No.
Okay, you can have a movie. Because everyone should have, like, the ice skaters and the people who do the, like, skiing and then shoot a bow and arrow, which kind of shows up in this a little bit.
A lot.
But this is a horrible, horrible movie. I think in terms of, if you were to grade every movie we've done in, like, different categories, cinematography, acting, practical effects, plot, lighting, dubbing, it would be at the bottom of every single one of those.
It's better than Dead Heat.
You think it's better than Dead Heat?
And Silent Night, Deadly Night. Better than that.
Oh yeah.
I'm not even out on a limb. I'm just downright saying.
A nostalgia fight with you. You think it's a better movie?
Only because it was my kid movie.
Yeah,
man.
see, that's the thing.
I know it's a shit movie. That has nothing to do with it. I just know that it's got a warm place in my heart.
Yeah,
it just does. I know people that hate Neverending Story. You know what I mean? Like it's just
we've been encountering people like that.
It's very fucking weird. Yeah. It's really odd.
Some people hate A Christmas Story. I watched I was reading on Reddit about A Christmas Story and how great of a movie it is. And there's a huge comment thread, right?
Yeah.
Huge. And Reddit's pretty good at organizing the comments and stuff. And about every 8th one was, I do not relate to this movie at all. I hate it. Which you can then identify the people who grew up without parents.
Yeah, or just
feral children who somehow got a hold of a TV.
And people that weren't born and raised in the Midwest and had a family. Yeah, like I don't know.
Like I wasn't well universally written film.
Plus, my mom hated it, so I didn't see it till I was older. Had I saw it when I was younger, it might be good. I remember my mom being super offended by the leg lamp.
Oh, really?
Isn't that fucking weird?
That is
so strange to me.
I always thought that leg lamp was just right there, perfectly on the line of something you could do that Middle America could get behind in terms of a sex joke in a Christmas movie.
I think my mom took the stance of the mom in the movie. Like, she just fucking hated it. You know what I mean? Like, she just, And then she didn't like guns, and we wanted BB guns. Like, it was very relatable, but I never ended up. It's not like high on my list of things.
Oh, really?
It's so weird.
I think as a piece of comedy writing, A Christmas Story is one of the most brilliant things I think I've ever seen. It reminds me of The Wonder Years, and I wonder if it didn't inspire The Wonder Years in some ways.
I could see that, but I also didn't really like The Wonder Years.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I wasn't allowed to watch The Wonder Years because it dealt with real people who weren't Christians having real lives that were secular.
So you weren't
enjoying real music. Yeah, and then also Doogie Howser was on afterwards, and we were pretty sure that
Doogie.
Growing up,
I get down on some Doogie.
Growing up, I lived such a sheltered life media-wise that I used to, when we got cable, just throw on the foreign channels thinking that porno was going to play. Because they're like, but not white people. They just have porno on their TVs all the time. Like watching Univision forever, like soccer and crap.
Just hoping.
Yeah, the Spanish dub Simpsons. Like, when are they going to get down?
The closest you're going to get is like the Spanish chick who does the news. Maybe a boob will pop out or something. That's about,
Well, there's like these one-off shows in like Brazil and stuff that are really weird, but they don't get rebroadcast. I was just uninformed. I shouldn't have wasted my time because the FCC or whatever, the censors, cable is not affected by the FCC.
Yeah.
But they have their standards and practices departments. They're not going to allow you to play that crazy Brazilian children's show.
They allow you. I hate that they're allowed to make their own rules, but they still stick to those other ones. It just
even when Stern went on satellite radio, right? That was going to be, I don't have to deal with NBC anymore. I could do satellite radio. He gets there. They're like, yeah, we don't want this poop joke. Like, what? The whole reason I'm here is freedom, poop.
Which is kind of what this movie's about, with the commies and the stopping they're building. What, like, should I get back to the movie? You're
I
giving me a
think
weird
we
look,
should.
like-
Yeah. No, I'm trying to remember it. I don't remember. All I remember is a lot of running down hallways, people going over a thing on ropes.
That's a lot of it.
Is most of it. Yeah.
yeah, totally. Well, the idea is there's a place called Parmistan. Sorry, Parmistan.
Parmistan. It's just fictional. I looked it up with those countries around Russia, though. It's a ludicrous name on one hand, but it's also not an unreal. Kazakhstan and Johnny Cashistan and all these different Stan.
So basically, for some reason, this place is in the perfect location to set up a satellite array to detect. This is what the Americans dubbed it. They decided why they wanted to go to this country and play this game of survival, because if they win the game, then they get one wish.
You get a wish, yeah.
You get a wish.
You can ask for anything.
Yeah.
And the Americans are so fucking stupid. Just ask for Parmesan to become part of your country.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Don't ask to put a missile system there that could easily be exploded, or a missile early detection system as part of the Star Wars program.
So after you survive the game or whatever,
you gotta win it.
You have to win it first place and all that. You get to ask the dude for a favor, and
the dude who looks suspiciously like Mel Brooks but isn't.
It's
and
creepy.
It's so weird that, like, hey, we found a guy who looks exactly like Mel Brooks. Let's put him in our karate movie.
Yeah.
Just to confuse the tone. I would put him in a comedy I would bowfinger it. I would put him in something where you would think it's Mel Brooks and just never mention that he's not Mel Brooks.
He's retarded as a kid. He's very mentally something's wrong. He's pretty stupid.
Is crazy. So
but
opens.
To be fair, the Parmesan school system's not very good.
No,
I've heard.
Well, you'd think usually the king gets like a higher level. He gets some Kim Jong-il type education.
Did he have a good education?
I'm sure. Yeah, they sent him to study abroad.
Oh,
He's been brainwashed all the fuck.
Yeah.
But he's also the dietary concern. Like, he doesn't really use that no carb thing. They're still using the food pyramid over in North Korea. That's how bad it is. They're still using, or the one before the food pyramid was just like, eat until you die. That was, in the 80s, that was the advice.
So yeah, you gotta survive the game and get the satellite array they want to put in Parmistan.
It doesn't
Parmesan.
matter. Just mutilate it in a different way every time you say it.
Time.
It's being funny to me.
So they'll get to set up this array for an early detection nuclear warning system, because Russia is right next to the joint. Mm-hmm. So that's the whole basis.
We're going to send you into this incredibly violent country full of weird, vaguely ethnic people.
Yeah.
And you're going to play in their blood sport.
Yeah.
And then if you survive, we're going to do the reverse of the Cuban Missile Crisis and pretty much trigger a thermonuclear war by trying to avoid one.
See, and that's the thing. It wasn't supposed to be a violent game, necessarily. Like, because it's supposed to be, you're supposed to get through the game, and not everybody does.
Well, wait. Let's, I think we need to back up here, because I'm fairly sure that a lot of our listeners have perhaps never seen this movie.
No, everybody's seen I'm convinced of that now.
It won Best Picture last year for some reason. Nobody knows how that even works.
But I got Maxim Magazine's 17th worst of all time.
Oh, I'll tell you what. We're never watching any of the other 16 that beat it. But so it opens up. This guy is at a training camp, and they're like, "We know you're a very good gymnast, Kurt."
Opens up with his dad first.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, dying in the game.
Yes, because his dad passes away.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's hard to see it. What happens at 1.6 times the actual movie speed. So it opens on this deal with guess his dad dies. All right, thank you for correcting
in the
me,
game.
Rusty. And he dies in the game. But then we get to our protagonist, Kurt Thomas. Is that his name in the movie?
Cabot is his name in the movie.
Jonathan Cabot.
Yeah.
And they're like, "You're such a great spy, Jonathan. You're probably like pretty good with chicks, and you're great at gymnastics, but you're just not quite good enough yet, because we have the dumbest idea in the world, which is there's this shitball country right next to Russia with a ludicrous name, and they have a barbaric ritual every year. And you're saying it's not barbaric, but they involve their prisoners in it as a way to get out of doing their sentence for like stealing a loaf of bread or something.
Yeah.
But they're also actively hunting them to kill them. It's like the worst pardon system ever.
But it had rules to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone, like if you wanted to try to kill,
and then if you break the rule, you get too zealous and you kill the prisoner, who I don't know, are they murderers or what? But if you kill them out of the bounds of the rules, then you also get instantly murdered. But basically, it's an ultra-violent version of American Gladiators, is what this game is.
It's like an 80s version of the Hunger Games.
Yeah. I think those Hunger Game movies are pretty good, actually.
They're not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a punk-ass version of Battle Royale, but...
Well, here's the interesting thing about the Hunger Games to me, right? You're like, it's a game where children battle to the death, and people are like, society would never accept that. I don't know. Those Hunger Games movies have made hundreds of millions of dollars, so there's obviously some marketability to this Lord of the Flies Thunderdome deal.
How much do you think it would have made if it was real?
Hmm?
If they actually, like, it was a documentary instead?
I'll tell
like
you
if
what,
they pulled some
if
Blair
the price
Witch
of
shit
oil
and
gets
made people
above
think...
$5 a gallon, we're going to find that out. Hunger Games are, I think, legit movies. They're confusing to me because there's so many plot holes. You just kind of have to roll with it. I can't buy in America.
They're a tweeny movie. They're not... I've watched them.
I haven't seen the last one yet.
I haven't seen the last one either.
I appreciate the strong female protagonist that is the Hunger Gamer.
Yeah.
She's got game. Is that what they're calling her?
I like that Woody Harrelson got another job. Mm-hmm. That's always cool to me.
Yeah, and he just got to play himself, which was amazing.
In that movie?
Yeah.
Well, pretty much.
Ultra-violent drunk burnout.
Yeah.
His dad killed a federal judge.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. His dad killed a federal judge. So he's come a long way in life. Yeah, his dad was like some mafioso type down in Texas, murdered a federal judge, and it turns out that's a horrible idea. Just do the time.
Yeah.
Because they will find you.
Yeah. I mean, I liked him in Zombieland and everything else. I even like White Man Can't Jump.
I hated Zombieland, man.
Or Money Train. You seen Money Train?
Oh, yeah, White Man Can't Jump, too. I've seen Money Train. Yeah. So that's our setup, and then they teach him. They do a training montage.
Yep.
It's painfully slow.
See, so that's the thing that drives me nuts. So obviously he's good at gymnastics. That was the whole intro to the movie is this dude hanging out on a pommel horse, and then the parallel bars, and then it's all he's all leotarded up.
This is gonna sound weird. You know what this movie reminds me of? Mr. T's Be Somebody.
I have not.
Have you not? It's an
I've
instructional video that Mr. T made for kids to like find their talents and actively pursue them. And it's on YouTube, and it kind of reminds me of that, and just in tone, like it's an optimistic tone, like what the Olympics are done, but I can gymnastics my way out of any problem. And Mr. T's like, he's an optimistic guy in that way, and it's like, yeah, I'm Mr. T. I don't have an A-team to shoot this weekend. Let's get a bunch of people who will ultimately become famous for odd things like breakdancing or singing, and make a little promotional video for kids.
Huh?
Yeah.
I gotta watch that again. I know I've seen it. It's one of those things.
It is so good. It's like a train wreck. Like, but it's peppered with people who are legitimate stars at this
big
point.
Now?
Yeah,
shit.
Here and there.
Like Will Smith and.
I think somebody from Run DMC might be in it, or Lauryn Hill, or something like that.
That's cool.
Urbanite children. I don't mean to say black, but I mean inner city kids. It's geared towards inner city children. So there's like people break dancing and stuff in it.
Yeah.
Mr. T comes up and they teach him how to pop and lock a little bit, and then they do their stuff.
You don't mean to say black?
Huh? No, I don't mean urbanite as meaning black. I mean as from the city. I'll say confused. Black all I want.
A little confused.
Okay.
It's...
When I say bohemian, I often just mean of the city as well. I don't I don't link black people in the city intrinsically when I'm using those terms. Just urban. So everyone knows.
I always hate that in comedy when they go, oh no, you'll have a really good time at that show. It's a really good place. It is kind of urban though. I was like, just it's a black, or they'll go,
it's a predominantly black audience. That's all you gotta tell me.
Exactly. Yeah. Or they'll go, it's kind of BET. I'm like, are you fucking serious?
I'll use the term a Def Jam type room. Like if that's what the room's expecting,
yeah,
I'll explain to somebody that way. Like that's the comedy they are expecting to see.
That's at least associated with, I don't know, Def Jam's associated with talent, not necessarily just.
I associated a Def Jam with a certain style of very quick, kind of culturally in kind of comedy.
All I know is from all the black comics that I've talked to about that, it's always been like, they don't like when you say urban comedy or BET comedy. It's like, but if you go, yeah, it's a black room.
Mm-hmm.
Case closed. Like,
well, black people don't want anyone. I think doesn't want someone tap dancing around being racist. Just trying not to be racist, but being racist in the pursuit of not being racist is a real thing. Speaking of racism, have you seen this fucking Gymkata movie? There's a lot of racism in this. But hey, we're at about 30 minutes, so we're going to take a break, and we'll be back after these messages. We'll be right back. Gymkata.
Bing.
Gymkata.
I know the perfect way to get fruity tricks. Better hop to it. This is my best disguise ever.
Bunny.
But this bunny loves tricks. A fruity part of this complete breakfast.
I wonder what he wants.
I want the great taste of orangey oranges, lemony lemons, grapey grapes, all in tricks. Yippee!
Something's up. Silly rabbit, tricks are for kids.
Animal haters.
All right, welcome back to Comics on Film, talking about Mr. Gymkata. So basically, front end of this movie, they explain the game. And if you miss it, don't worry. They're going to explain that game about 9 more times throughout the movie. But it's a blood sport involving archery and rope climbing and whatever. And so he runs through it, and then they go, but you need better training. And so they have like an older Asian gentleman to teach him karate, like you have in a lot of these movies.
Yeah.
Like Remo Williams. And
you need the sensei.
Like a brother, a black guy there to teach him.
Huge black guy that didn't. And
teach him just to be badass, general.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
As montages go, it's
it is
horrible.
Really, yeah, it's painfully bad. But the interesting thing is they have the princess of the country there.
Yeah.
Like, she's in on this plan.
Yeah.
Why not just, like, if she's down with it, why let's cut out the middleman?
Well, she doesn't have the power of the country.
She certainly should have some sway over her father, who's the king, and also Mel Brooks, in a different race than her entirely.
Yeah,
she's like Filipino, and he's Jewish.
Yeah. I remember, I think maybe the reason I liked this movie was because of Princess Rubali. Because
she is a foxy
oh my
woman.
God. Her name's Techi. Google her.
Yeah.
She was in Playboy.
I'll Google her if the opportunity comes up. You bet your ass.
Even as an aging lady, if you Google images her, besides the awesome Playboy centerfold stuff she did, she's not a bad looking older lady either.
Oh.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Just putting it out there.
Okay.
I'm reaffirming my heterosexuality again. Sorry, Jeremy.
But she's there, and she's a psychopath at the front end of this movie. Because she's supposed to help train him, and he's like instantly, and he's like, I'm the protagonist. I should be getting some nookie. I'm going to Google her. And she keeps pulling knives and stuff on him. And
throwing knives at him.
Yeah. And finally he decides he's gonna break through her ice princess ways, right? And so he does a little sketch where he does flips in place and pretends to be her and pretends to be him, and it's supposed to play as cute, and maybe it did when you were growing up, but watching it as an adult, I'm like, this is the most embarrassing thing. Like, this guy has to live with this scene's existence for the rest of his life.
It's okay, as he didn't do anything else ever again. Like, he went
I believe he has
people.
a book out, like a book about, teaching yourself gymnastics and how to be somebody or something like that. That's why I make that association with Mr. T, is because it seems like he's a guy who's like kind of wants people like, yeah, work really hard, follow your dreams, and good things will happen.
Yeah.
Or work really hard, follow your dreams, and then Russia doesn't have the Olympics, and I make one of the worst fucking movies ever in the history. So it doesn't always work out, but you should work hard. I think we endorse that here at Comics on Film. Over at Rated80s.
Yeah. It's
work hard, play hard.
See, and I remember because
live,
I was
laugh,
a kid.
love, eat, love, pray.
Murder, death, kill.
Murder, death, kill. What the fuck are the 3 seashells for?
That's what I want.
Hmm?
I want that.
Well, we're like a mile from the beach right now, and I got a pretty good flashlight in my car. If you want 3 seashells for your restroom.
No, I want the. I was talking about this earlier with you. It wasn't on the podcast, but
I
want
want a murder, death, kill.
Yeah, instead of live, laugh, love, I want murder, death, kill, and then under each word have a seashell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. From, anyways.
Yeah.
From the other
as
amazing.
a wall kitsch. Yeah. Then you put it in your bathroom. Comics on interior decorating. They teach him the game.
Yeah.
Or they teach him some skills to survive the game.
Which I thought it was funny how they took a dude, like, yeah, he was good at gymnastics, and then he's like, but I don't know anything about Kung Fu. And the guy's like, well, I'll teach you.
Mm-hmm.
So in a weekend, at a fucking summer camp.
Well, at least that's a skill that would kind of track, I think. I think a gymnast, you would not want to fight a gymnast.
No, but
or wrestle them, because they're very flexible. They'd get out of a lot of holds that other people couldn't get out of.
I could see wrestling, but the mashup between the gymnast and the karate on just I don't know. I didn't buy. Well, I don't buy it now. I bought it hook, line, and sinker when I was a fucking kid. But
I like that better than when they have someone who's a really good martial artist and he's 100 years old and that translates into every single other skill in his life. Like, because he knows karate, he's a really good concert pianist and shit in some movies.
Yeah.
That's not, or Rambo, because he's a really good soldier. He can play that game where you throw a goat in a circle in Afghanistan better than the natives in Afghanistan can play it. Like, this doesn't translate from knowing the bow and arrow. And why the fuck does Rambo know the bow and arrow? We don't teach people that in the military.
But they fucking, with exploding tip arrows, they should.
We have those. They're called missiles. You just shoot missiles. You don't even need a Rambo-type person to shoot a missile.
I'm just saying.
A skinny guy in the Air Force can shoot a missile.
Look.
The Air Force guys don't do a lot of push-ups.
They're
less of heroes than all the other service members.
I have very strong feelings about Rambo, and I don't think you should talk to him this badly, and especially about the exploding tip arrows. That is one of the most important things in my childhood. Was that scene of him screwing the arrow tip on and fucking using it in the cave in Rambo 3.
He doesn't have explodey tip arrows in the first Rambo, right?
No, he doesn't even have
that
a bow and
wouldn't
arrow
make
in the
any
first one.
sense, yeah.
No.
As he shouldn't. He's an American Special Forces operative, not a Native American Special Forces operative, which their Special Forces do that. Not a lot of people know that. Yeah, they're a whole separate country, and they have Special Forces people.
Who?
The Native Americans.
Do they?
Yeah, the Puyallup Indians have
You're fucking with
commandos.
No, they got tribal police. I've met them.
Okay, I admit that's a lie.
Okay. It's like I know a dude who works for the tribal police.
Yeah, you see when they get out of their car with a longbow as opposed to a gun, because they're really upset about what we did to their culture.
Stereotypes.
Yeah. Pithy racism.
Yeah.
Not like endorsing racism in any way. There is a difference. Speaking of racism, this Gymkata movie is so racist.
Is it?
But I don't know against who.
How is it racist?
So we've skipped over a lot. I'm going to kind of jump ahead. So they're like, here's the game. You got to play it. Go and kill a bunch of Russian people on your way there, because this is America, goddammit. And we kill Russian people. It's Totes doing it.
To be fair,
the Russians came at him.
Yeah. I was going to say. They were coming after him.
Yeah, at exactly the moment a script doctor would say this movie needs an action beat, the Russians show up, and I think they kidnap the princess when he gets to...
Yep.
He has to go to another country to get to Pakistani Parmistan.
Yeah, because they can't just fly in. There's no technology. That's the other thing. These are like basically the Dark Ages version of...
dirty baby-stealing gypsies is how these people are portrayed. Ultimately, when you get to the point when he is actually fighting the locals as part of the game for some reason, they are ethnic stereotypes of some sort. I don't know what ethnicity is getting thrown under the bus here, but I'm absolutely positive that there is someone somewhere in the world who watched this and went, fuck those people.
I think it was filmed in the Czech Republic.
Oh, yeah?
And everyone looks like they're from you get in that area and everyone kind of looks like everyone else as far as like...
It reminds me a lot of Resident Evil, is it 5 or 4?
4.
Where you have to save the president's daughter.
Yeah.
And you're in a country and they are vaguely gypsy-like, Romy type folks. I don't know if gypsy's a slur that we're not allowed to... I haven't read my last 3 liberal racism updates, so I don't know what's off limits this week. But, vaguely Romanian people in that game, and you just slaughter them to save the president's daughter. And Capcom got in a little bit of trouble for that. And then to the next one, they're like, oh, we're going to be even more racist because we're already making millions of dollars.
Just fuck it. Yeah.
That's what this movie reminds me of. So, he gets to the country on the way to the other country, and someone explains the game to him again, I believe, and also the little video game mission he's going to have to do to get from that country to the next country.
Yeah.
And then the princess gets kidnapped, and he's like, I'm going to go save the princess. And he's like, whoa, wait a minute there, Mario. You don't want to do that. He's like, Totes doing it.
Yeah.
And
running down corridors.
Oh, yeah. So many running down corridors. At that point, like, just This guy...
And the first gymnastics kata thing he does is he ducks down a corridor, and there's two dudes chasing him, and they got guns. And right as he takes the right turn, there's a bar in between two buildings. Like, you think it's like they hang clothes on or something. I'm not really sure.
It would have to be like a gas line or something.
Yeah.
It supports his whole body, but oddly enough has the exact same flexibility that a wooden gymnastics bar would have.
And he hops up there and gets enough momentum going. I mean, he's a legit gymnast. He gets enough momentum going to where he's doing flips around it. And the guys chasing him turn the corner at the exact right time, and he kicks them both in the face. And you get that perfect sound bite, that whoosh. That's my best impression of it. Is whoosh. And the cool thing is, they fall, and then a guy rides by on a bicycle headed down that same corridor.
Yeah, just some
and
random...
he kicks the dude. Yeah. Just a fucking rando.
Yeah.
Kicks him right in the goddamn head.
Yeah, this was before the invention of the outtake. That was just actually a local, and they had to give him like $60,000 to buy him off, but they didn't.
That was half the budget of the movie. I don't think they paid him off that much.
Yeah, that's the first time that they shoehorn gymnastics and karate of some sort together.
Yeah.
Together into this, and it's really bad. It's like, why would that be there?
But I remember watching it and loving it. Yeah.
I will say that it is better than that scene in the Jurassic Park movie where the girl uses gymnastics to kick a raptor out a window. I would say that scene makes less sense than this scene in Gymkata.
But then they chase him all over the town, and he's got to go save the Princess Ribali from these pricks. And
he does.
Yep.
Inside of like 15 minutes. Like, wow, rescuing a hostage is fairly straightforward. And she shoots one of them or something, too.
Oh, yeah, she fights
They've
back.
already gotten down at this point because he did a bunch of flips in front of her.
Yeah.
That was enough to melt her Ice Queen heart. It's like, she was supposed to be there to help, but she was being a complete psychopath to him. But then he did a little Abbott and Costello routine, and now they're in love. All right, movie, go for it.
And they ride in, what do they take, horses or whatever? They get into Parmistan, and the funny thing is they have this, like, welcoming dinner. So you got people, it almost feels like a blood sport thing, because you got a bunch of dudes from around the world. You got a Spanish dude, you got all the Chinese
Everyone
dude.
wants that one wish that you get from the Parmigiani government.
Yeah, totally. And
unlimited breadsticks also at this dinner.
And they it explains the game again.
A third time, but not with the aid of a model.
Yeah.
And somewhere, we should mention that I have a hard time tracking this movie, but up until this point in the movie, they've already crossed some fucked up rope bridge thing where you got to use your arms to get across a rope over a bunch of alligators or something.
Yeah.
And people it happens like as many times as I explained the game, people grab onto this rope and somehow try and get... So is that how his dad happened
That's how his dad dies.
So that's why there's a first one, and then it happens like a whole bunch of other times.
Yeah, because they do the first one with his dad, and then they, for some reason, cut again to like the practice round for the guys that actually hunt him. They sent out the criminals.
One of the producers of this movie was just in love with the idea of people using their arms to go hand over hand on a rope suspended between two, and then throwing a dummy down at the rocks below it. Not a one
really
of them. Every single time
dummy.
It comes up, another dummy goes flopping onto those rocks. There's archery involved.
That is another cool part of this because, like when they go after his dad in the beginning, the dad's crossing it, and the rule is if the hunters catch up with the hunted, they have to kill him on the level playing field. So the idea is the guy he's got a fucking bow and arrow, but he can't just sit on the ledge and kill his dad. He can't just sit over. He's got to be on the rope. Yeah. So this is a really cool scene where the guy uses his leg and his arm around the rope while holding a bow and arrow and shooting
down.
Shooting it underhand. And fucking presumably kills his dad, and he falls down to the rocks in that horrible.
Are you foreshadowing? I don't even remember. That doesn't matter. We're coming up on another break.
Oh, there's a Shyamalan twist.
Is there a Shyamalan, Deepak Chakra, Tupac Shakur, Shonuff twist coming up? You'll have to tune in just a moment from now to find out.
Yeah! Make it radical.
Hey, make a grocery.
Hey, anybody thirsty? Okay, we got OJ, some purple stuff, some soda, Sunny Delight.
I'll try Sunny Delight.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's good stuff. It's got healthy junk. So what?
Hey, guys.
All right. Hey, Megan, our name is Mrs. B.
Thanks. I think.
You got a cool one.
Sunny Delight. Kids get the taste. Moms get the credit.
All right, man. You can't fail me. I set everybody up for a Tupac Chakra Shakur twist. So
Oh no.
yeah.
There's
we got a Shamalama ding dong. This motherfucker. We got
there's a Shyamalan twist.
Yes.
Kind of. It's a good one. I think it's pretty
Yeah.
decent. Well, they have the dinner, and they got all the blood sport contestant guys.
Mm-hmm.
Just a nice cross section of what the world.
Kano versus Sonya.
Totally.
Test your might. And Mel Brooks is emceeing the whole thing because he's king of Parmesan.
And they find out that the Rubali's betrothed to the big baddie because it's the 80s.
Yeah, it's
got to be a big baddie.
Halfway through the movie, let's establish that there is actually a villain. Let's do that.
We might as well.
Yeah,
not just
and
the random
huge.
Russians.
He's like Bolo, like huge, big,
and ugly. Ugly in like a weird brow, and he's always got like a fur coat on or a fur sleeveless. He's like Ukrainian redneck
/ Tyler Durden with the horrible fur coat. He's like he pulls out a knife, I think, and throws it right next to Gymkata's head.
Yeah.
And Jim's like, "What the hell, dude?" And he's like, "Don't be cock-blocking me, bro."
No, he didn't even flinch though.
No, but
Gymkata just like looks at him like, "Fuck you, kid.
Mm-hmm. Don't worry about me. I'm gonna be somebody."
Yeah.
Whether you're throwing knives at my skull or not.
And basically, that baddie's trying to overthrow the Parmesan government,
which is an open secret. But the king of Parmesan, Mel Brooks,
is ignorant as fuck.
Yeah, he's like
he's an idiot.
Nobody will ever overthrow me.
He goes and everything kind of. So there was espionage kind of going on in this tiny little town.
Even you're the person who insisted I watch this movie, and even at this point, we're only, what are we, about 46, 47 minutes into talking about it, and you kind of sound like you want to hang yourself.
No, yeah,
look. It's not a good movie. It is,
No, in nostalgic reasons, I love this movie. It's like when you run into people that don't like never-ending stories. Something's fucking wrong with them. I'm the exact opposite of that. I love it because of nostalgia, not because
this movie's
it's good.
So bad it doesn't even exist in Fantasia. It's so unimaginative that it actually does not exist there. So
yeah, but they leave. They start the games after some horseshit espionage crap.
They go to sleep. They wake up.
Yeah.
He's like, he sings that Kiss from a Rose on the Grave song to the princess in the middle of the night, and then her boyfriend shows up. He's like, "Don't be singing Kiss from a Rose on a Grave to her. She's mine."
Yeah, he's mad because he knows they've already fucked.
Yeah, he totally knows that there's a threat level here.
It's
there's
pretty
something
apparent.
going on, yeah.
And he's not a big, he's a slick looking. What do you called him, MacGyver?
Gymkata?
Yeah.
Old Jim. Yeah, Jim he looks like MacGyver to me in a lot of the shots. There's one shot where he's boating down a river, and I froze frame it there just to think about how much I hate the movie. And I was like, that looks like a young MacGyver. I could totally see him defusing a bomb with hockey and a paperclip.
It is hockey hair. He's got some wicked hockey hair.
Yeah, he's like thin MacGyver-esque look to him.
Like early years.
But unlike MacGyver, who would never gymnastic a peasant riding a bike through his action sequence, MacGyver would be like, and then I had to stop and let the peasant ride his bike through my action sequence, which had already concluded, by the way. I'd already Gymkata'd these people right out of the movie, and then Rando comes through and I Gymkata him as well. MacGyver would never do that. MacGyver won't even use a gun.
No. MacGyver would have used a bubble gum wrapper and a toothpick and made a nuclear weapon. And
if MacGyver was told, "Hey, MacGyver, you're really good at hockey. We want you to combine that with karate and put a nuclear warning system and a Soviet government," he'd be like, "Fuck you, Phoenix Foundation. That's the stupidest plan I have ever." We have their princess. Put a gun to her head. Send them a video. We've got our system.
Oh, just pull it full terrorist style?
Yeah. MacGyver wouldn't do that. He'd put a knife to her throat. I'm MacGyver. I have morals. I don't use guns. But I will use a hostage because I'm MacGyver.
All right. Fair enough. So they leave. The game starts. It kicks off. But now, the king knows, because he finally listens to his fucking daughter. The king knows that the jig is up. This her big baddie she's betrothed to, because they actually got married.
Well,
that night. That was the
husband guy. I think they're supposed to get married at the end of the movie, right?
No,
after the game.
It was the celebration of the wedding.
Oh, they've gotten married.
Yeah, that's the dinner that
then
night.
Why does he need to overthrow the government?
Because technically he would. Yeah, he just killed a dude, right?
He's going all crazy, Caligula.
Damn it.
Yeah,
you're ruining this movie for me.
It's not a good movie,
Whatever,
Rusty.
whatever. I'm holding fast.
It's rated
No, because there's
0.80.
things like you can't beat.
Well, her husband, apparently her husband, I was watching it on 1.6 times its normal speed, so I might have missed the wedding. But her husband's job in the game is to hunt down the contestants and murder them.
Yeah.
And they fire the starting pistol or whatever.
Yeah.
I think they kill a peasant. That's how they start this in this barbaric culture.
Well, they fire the gun and then let people go, and then
They also have like a pre-game game. Because remember, we're only at the third explanation of the game in the movie. And this pre-game game involves going over that cliffside across the ropes by your hands holding the ropes, and archery, and murdering inmates who are allowed to play the game to get their thing. And then they murder the inmates, and they go, okay, we're going to start the game again.
Yeah. It was a tester run for the real game. This all makes perfect sense to me.
And they established that if you break the rules as one of the enforcers of the game, which the enforcers are allowed just to kill contestants in the game. It's a very liberal use of the word game, now that I think about it. And also movie. This is a very liberal interpretation of the word movie.
They get going. I'm trying to move the story along.
All right, we're moving. We're doing okay.
Because they start the game, and there's running and rope climb. So they lower the flag. Mm-hmm. Everyone starts running. Now, the trick is, as a hunter, you're not supposed to just directly chase after him. This is when the king knew the jig was up completely.
Oh, because he doesn't allow them to, but his new son-in-law breaks the rules and comes after him.
Yeah, like 20 minutes after they take off
seconds
running.
After.
Well, yeah,
like,
pretty much.
And he's like, you're breaking the rules. Oh, where's Carl Reiner? I'm comedically impotent without Carl Reiner to help me. And then he launches into 1,000-year-old man, and the movie ends, thank God, at that point. Okay. So Bolo Young goes after our protagonist who wants to put a nuclear warning Cuban Missile Crisis system there in Russia, and the protagonist is like, he's cheating, kill him, but obviously he's got like embedded agents and stuff. That's not going to work. And then he runs down a hallway. Then he runs down a corridor. Then he runs down a wider hallway, and then he runs through like an alley, and then like a warehouse, a field, and it's like running underwater. There's little crabs singing about how great and under the sea, and he's running.
I didn't talk this much shit about Dead Heat. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It's on fucking record.
Yeah,
we have it recorded. I was trying to gracefully follow along with your shit movie, sir.
Okay, I admit that I have subjected you to a less than perfect film.
Yeah, worse than this.
No,
I want to see if Dead Heat. Maxim probably gave it like fifth worst.
You know,
ever.
I called Joe Piscopo to get his reaction to like our commentary on Dead Heat, and it turned out he had watched Gymkata the day before and slit his fucking wrist and died.
So, there's a lot of running in this movie. They run to a rope climb.
Painful amount of running.
Yeah,
and a painful amount of doing a rope across a thing with archery.
And you think it's going to be like a battle, like Bloodsport spread out all the competitions and all the contestants. There's not much of a fucking battle between contestants because they're
going to be killed by
like so
everybody.
Quickly. So quickly. All the people that you met the night before at the fucking dinner, a guy gets shot right as soon as they're out of the town. A guy right in a field, boom, arrow right through the fucking head. Another dude, like 6 dudes die before they get to the first
He's got
event.
Like a partner, though, that's kind of helping him out or whatever.
Yeah, he looks like a dude from Jersey. He's got helmet hair, too.
Mm-hmm.
And an orange leotard for some reason.
Yeah, Bruce Springfield.
Is that it?
That's the guy, yeah. You know how the 80s like to put music stars in movies they didn't belong in.
And they get to the rope climb. They set the rope on fire. That's the first rope climb up a sheer wall. Like,
oh yeah, that's
like
the big
Princess
villain.
Bride.
The big villain's plan. I remember this specifically.
Okay.
So he wants to kill Gymkata because Gymkata is totally like get
banging
off
his
my
wife.
Kool-Aid, motherfucker. And he wants to kill Gymkata. Gymkata's climbing a rope, straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up. He lights the rope on fire.
Yeah.
There's like 6 ropes around Gymkata. They still play it like there's not. Like Gymkata couldn't just reach over to the other rope and climb that
Donkey
one up.
Kong style.
Yeah, but it's like, oh, it's a big tension action sequence. No, he could literally transfer ropes, no problem. And it's like
it's pretty sad.
It's so sad. It's like, couldn't we stop directing this movie long enough to have a powwow to talk about how stupid it is? But no, you can't. because we have to get to the major action set piece of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the town full of crazy.
Yes. Which is the best
Everett,
part of this
Washington.
Movie. It is.
So there is a town in the country of Parmistan.
We'll call it a village.
Parmistan, a village. It is the town from Resident Evil 4.
Mm-hmm.
4, sorry. Resident Evil 4.
Okay.
Where Leon must go and get... Leon must go and rescue the president's daughter, which turns out to be a very involved mission.
Yeah.
And
I would be
it is
surprised if
full
this didn't spawn
of people who I think of as like stereotypical gypsies.
Yeah.
Attacking poor Gymkata. They are running at Gymkata, and they are ugly, ugly, ugly people.
Oh, yeah.
And just, and they're...
And that's the thing, is they do this...
We need to explain a little bit more. This is not like... I don't mean to say like it's a shitty town.
No.
It is a town that this country uses, like Escape from New York.
Like a depository. Yeah.
Yeah, to just take all the psychotics and the criminals, and they just put them there.
And I get the impression
it's like
it's
Australia, which gave us that wonderful man, Mel Gibson, who's gone so crazy, they didn't put him in the next Mad Max movie. They're like, you're so insane, you're too insane to play Mad Max, Mel Gibson.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Because Mad Max is not a racist.
And the new Mad Max is fucking awesome.
Oh, the new Mad Max
So
is
good.
the most rated 80s thing ever.
So we got to do that one.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that for sure.
But we did, he gets to the town of crazies, and there's this part, and this is the one that stuck with me the most. I mean, this is like...
Has anyone ever won this game? Because they swarm him like Wu-Tang Clan
No,
as killer
nobody
bees.
wins.
You can't get out of...
nobody
you
won.
have to run directly through an insane asylum full of gypsy jokers.
Yeah.
Like, it is nutty. And they're
It's
attacking
perfect.
him.
It's such a great scene. Okay, this is where the pommel horse fight comes down, and that's what the guy that actually plays the dude, he was like, he wanted, like, pommel horse was like his event.
Yeah.
And he's a badass at.
If there was a way to make this not so shoehorned into the movie, it would be a great thing.
But it was so awesome. I mean, town squares don't have pommel horses to fight off 60 fucking crazy people.
It's not even a full-on pommel horse. A pommel horse is as long as this table we're sitting at here at Polyglamorous Studios. A pommel horse is good for 4.5 feet long. It's a modified pommel horse, so you can do even more karate in your pommel horsing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And
he fights like 90 guys.
That they had some use of tying horses to it or something.
Yeah.
They could have killed him at any moment. That's the big thing. Like, there's 1,000 of them, and they've got pitchforks and torches and scythes. And
if you, by the way, just YouTube, Gymkata, even if you haven't seen this movie, it's worth a look.
Just a sequence. I'll tell you, at 1.6 times speed, this is some impressive martial arting. It's the only scene where I was like, that's amazing. Then I remembered, oh, yeah, you turned the speed up to 3 times.
Before he gets to the pommel horse scene, though, this is my favorite part and what stuck with me when I was younger. The favorite part of the movie whatsoever is this crazy guy's following him, and the crazy guy has a sickle. And you can tell he's insane because he's like, and just nutty, and we go flip to a weird vision too, and he goes, the crazy guy's following him, and the crazy guy falls while he's swinging at him, and the crazy guy's hand lands on a downspout for water from the roof, and the guy is so fucking crazy that he can't remove his hand. His hand is thinking on his own. It just freezes up around this. Stuck with me, so I fucking had nightmares. His hand's so stuck.
Oh.
He takes his fucking sickle that he was trying to kill the guy with, cuts his own hand off. When I was younger, it fucking traumatized the shit out of me.
Which is what makes this a rated 80s film.
Absolutely.
We're going to have to, we got 2 more minutes for our Northwest Convergence Zone radio listeners.
Yeah.
So we got to give them a verdict and then tease out the rest of the episode so we steal them as listeners from the Northwest Convergence Zone, so they're direct podcast subscribers. So I think I'm pretty much on the record as saying that this movie is the worst thing that's ever happened.
No.
Sorry, the Jews.
I was going to say.
I mean, the Holocaust ended, but this movie will exist forever.
I will say I love this movie, and there was a petition to get it released on DVD because it wasn't out. And so there was enough people
now out,
to make a fucking... Yeah, it's out. There was enough people to make a profit, so... Sorry.
Hey.
I'm a fan.
Nostalgia trumps logic.
Just watch the movie. That's all I'm saying.
Follow us over on Rated80s.com if
Yes.
you're listening to us on the Northwest Convergence Zone. We're going to take another break. If you're listening to us on the Convergence Zone, there is another half hour of this that you can listen to, and it's going to be great. But we have to say goodbye to our Convergence Zone listeners.
By Internet Radio Land.
Totally come find us. Find us on the Facebook. Find us on the YouTubes. Find us on Rated80s.com.
Yeah.
Find us on the Twitter. And we'll see
Thanks
you
for
soon.
listening.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening. And thank you, Northwest Convergence on Radio, for having us. This is the first episode we've ever taped knowing that we would be on the Convergence Zone. We've been in talks with them for a long time. They have a high level of quality, which you can tell by how great this fucking podcast is.
Yeah.
You know, radio show / podcast now.
And
We're
it's the
branching
world
out.
now. That we can cuss, we can say what we like, and they're, All
right.
Love it.
Come get us. Shackleford Diffusion style. All right. Shit. Off the cuff.
Gangsta.
Beatbox Chad. Oh, you can check him out at beatboxchad.com, a website he might code in C++ objective programming language. It's not meant for web pages at all. That's my roommate, Chad. We love him very much. Thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Just drug him in here. We won't mention the many, many different drugs he's on. Amphetamines, thorazine, marijuana. All legal in the case of Chad. There's going to be so many censorings I have to do in that. But, so we're past the Convergence Zone point of our podcast, so we can finally talk about what we came to talk about, how the Jewish black banking cabal is limiting the opportunities of the white man in today's America.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it.
We hook you with movies.
I want to Gymkata their ass so bad.
And then it's all conspiracy theory.
Oh, yes.
All day.
Theory my ass, motherfucker. No, we do not endorse what we just said at all. If you want that shit, Glenn Beck is available online for your viewing consumption.
Yeah, but he's finally at the town of crazies.
Mm-hmm.
And you think he's going to die.
Yeah, it gets pretty
There's
serious.
A part.
I can see being a child and being like, because he gets stabbed or something pretty seriously.
They do that great visual effects, like old school visual effects thing where they put Vaseline on the camera. You know this stunt?
No, I don't know this little
So
gag.
you just take Vaseline and you can fucking, I mean, don't do it on your iPhone, I guess. But if you smear,
you can do that on the iPhone. I think
yeah,
it'd be okay.
You smear a little bit of Vaseline
I'm
and
not
it gives
an
it
iPhone
a
lawyer, but
it gives it a sheen, almost like 90% of the dream effects in the 80s.
Oh yeah,
are just Vaseline on the camera lens.
Mm-hmm.
Swear to God,
and 90% of the script production in the 80s was just cocaine off a mirror at a club in L.A. In the bathroom, little your own mirror. You didn't break one out of the club. No, etiquette, people. Etiquette.
Yeah, it's always polite to bring your own
that
little
dream
round
effect.
mirror.
Yeah, so he gets stabbed, and then they blurry vision.
Yeah, you think he's gonna die, and I mean, you don't think he's gonna survive. His dad had died the game years before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're kind of worried about him. I'm totally emotionally invested in the guy.
Mm-hmm.
He already killed a baddie in a pig pen. I'm
envisioning like an 8-year-old Rusty watching this movie in his little teeny button-up flame shirt and his little teeny two-pronged beard. It's like, no, Gymkata! Jim, are you going to pull through? Are you going to make it?
It was a sad scene because the crazies felt so real to me. They felt, and if you watch this movie, it's hard not to think that those aren't real crazy people.
It takes an amazing tone shift, I will say.
Absolutely.
They just
and this is the reason I love this movie is the crazies. It has to be because it's such an absurd concept that it's not just crazy people. I'm pretty sure this is the type of weird, fucked up place.
Well, as Americans,
that would toss retarded people in there
the
too.
'80s, we talked a little bit about how. We thought foreign countries were just so alien to the American experience, so different, right? Like there's children starving in Africa, and Sally Struthers is going to sell you one of these kids so you can send it food or whatever for less than the cup of coffee, but they live in this Mad Max Thunderdome type world, and there's flies coming out of their nose and all kinds of horrible stuff. And that's how we thought of even Canada back then. We were like, oh my God, we're so lucky to live in America. And we thought the Chinese, they electroshock therapied their gymnasts to make them better than us.
There's still people that think this shit.
Mm-hmm.
There's still people
that
are
as soon
just
as you cross the Cascade Mountains over into Wenatchee and you visit my extended family, a good half of them believe that way.
It's so it blows my mind how much. I love that the internet made. I mean, the world isn't a big place, anyways. Like, it's not. We don't live on a big fucking planet. It's not. It's
in comparison to the other. We have a very small frame of reference. That's the interesting thing
Still.
about being a human. Until you've done mushrooms or acid, you
Yeah.
don't really understand how insignificant your fight with your boss might be. You know what I mean? Like,
that always sinks in, and I just love the fact that I in the day and age of the internet and the fact that everything is so fucking close to everyone else. Everything. You got 4 Facebook friends, and boom, you know everyone in the fucking world. You know
our
what
greatest
I mean?
invention as a species was to make the world as small as we have.
Yeah.
To make it so that I can get on YouTube and get frustrated that the guy teaching me has a hardcore East Indian accent
Yeah.
is a luxury no one ever had before.
Yeah.
Because we've made it so you can communicate with anyone who's in a wired area.
Yeah.
You can exchange ideas. I mean, most of it's just Twitter crap or porn or revenge porn. But, you know what I mean? Like, so every technology needs that kind of useless aspect to it to get everyone involved. But even if you were... The next great invention could come from someone who is currently doing Romanian wife swap porn.
Yeah.
They could get online and say, I have a good idea for a phone app, and find the person who makes the phone app that makes the thing that changes the world in a way. The world changes now every week or two.
Yeah.
Like, hey, now there's Kickstarter. If you don't like Kickstarter, now there's GoFundMe. And if you don't like that, there's 9 other options. If you have an idea and you can convince people it's good, you can make a great thing. You could crowdfund a movie as bad as Gymkata.
What the fuck ever.
Huh?
Ah!
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good movie. The scene in the town of crazy. I'm just saying.
You've
Fucking
had
YouTube
two
it.
arguments through this. You've had 2 arguments. Like, it's a good movie, but I love it because I was growing up and it hit a certain nerve at a certain time. And I agree with you. Everyone gets to have 1 or 1,000 movies like that, right? Like, some people, you didn't know when you were young that Roadhouse was not meant to be like a serious film. And it struck a nerve with you, and then you grow up and you realize, it's horrible, but I still love it. And Gymkata is like, but it was so important to me at that time.
I will give you horrible plot.
Mm-hmm.
Great. I personally think great costume work.
I will say this might be
pretty good casting.
One of the most rated 80s things we've ever done, honestly, because the premise is so horrible.
Fucking out there.
Every aspect of the premise, karate gymnastics fusion. Gotcha. To fight communism? Gotcha. To stop a nuclear war? Gotcha. Town full of psychotics? Oh, fuck. What? What? Escape from New York is just thrown in the middle of this movie.
In the middle of it. And that's when you think he's going to die. He's up. He already, kicked everyone in the fucking town on the pommel horse.
Yeah.
He's fighting him. And this has the great sound effects. This spawned a conversation when I was younger. I gotta explain this because I was on a quest to find people that understood this movie and had seen
Can I
this
just
movie.
say something? The sound effects of this are not good.
No, they're horrible.
Yeah. Okay.
But they're whoosh, whoosh. They're that sound, right?
Uh-huh.
Every time he hits somebody, that's the sound that comes out of whoever designed that sound. And I remember meeting a girl.
It's the Street Fighter 2 punching sound. It sounds like to me.
Yeah, but this was done in '84, so it was before Street Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
So
this library was obviously available. The video games in the 80s were not
just
spending millions of dollars hiring Foley artists and sending guys out with shotgun mics to tap a wire to make a laser sound for Star Wars.
But on my quest to find people that had seen this movie, I about 3 years after.
I love that you presented it as a quest.
It is a fucking quest.
Rusty, 8 years old, flame T-shirt, buttoned up, just a little, his beard scrote hadn't quite dropped, but just little nubs of the old sharp beard you used to have, and he goes and puts on a backpack. I'm seeing a JRPG my mind right now. Where Rusty must quest to find other people who have seen Gymkata, and he goes to someone's house, and they're like, my daughter's been kidnapped by a dragon in a cave. He's like, that'll help me get experience points to find other people I'm really bothering you right
You
now.
are. Because I'm trying to, okay, I'll give you an example of why this was good to me.
And then you'd go into their house and steal all their stuff, and they wouldn't care.
Have you seen Ong Bak with Tony Jaa?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what
amazing film.
What this movie did, in my opinion, and this is why I think it deserves, albeit it's horrible and all those things that you've pointed out incessantly through this podcast, the Tony Jaa, your mind fucking blew when you saw Ong Bak. It's like, how the fuck is this guy doing this shit?
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah,
The successor to Jackie Chan was my thought, tip to tail in that.
Holy shit. The
But
guy's
he's got his own game he's bringing to the game.
Yeah, and
Game
he's doing
game.
he's doing just amazing shit.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of what that did for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because you saw karate movies before, right? But it mashed up this other way of doing it. And it's not like when I was younger I watched gymnastics. I didn't know what a fucking pommel horse was.
When I was a young child, my mother forced me to do gymnastics because she thought I should be Shirley Temple. But that's neither here nor there. That's not really
You can still tap dance, though, so that's good.
I can do a kickball change like nobody's business.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's tap dance lingo for a sex change operation.
So here's where the Shyamalan twist comes in.
Shyamalan.
Yes. He's in the town of Crazies. He had climbed up this wall and he got like 60 people trying to kill him. And they're like, it's this great scene with the Vaseline on the fucking lens, and it's very dreamy like, and you think he's going to die, and it slows the pace down. Everything's in slow motion. He's actually climbed this wall and is wedged between two buildings. Like you used to climb up the doorway when you were a kid. Mm-hmm. He's wedged in that area with literally like 90 fucking crazy people below him. You think he's going to die because he's bleeding. And out of nowhere, a hand just drops down by his face from the roof of this building. He's like, he can't get out. A hand drops down. He's like, holy shit, someone's going to help him up. But as he looks up, it's one of the baddie, like, foot soldier looking guys.
Oh, yeah.
The army.
We haven't established. They're ninja'd up.
Yeah.
They're
all
wearing, like, most of a Saudi Arabian burqa, except for the Saudi Arabian burqa covers one eye. So you can see both their eyes. Oh, yeah. Saudi Arabia is one of the more oppressive.
Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, the horrors in Saudi Arabia, both eyes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sluts.
I should credit that. Yeah. Nancy Reed,
Yeah,
friend of mine,
say.
that's her joke. I should fucking credit that. It's an amazing joke, though. I only steal from the best.
So this guy's up there, and he's looking up like, oh, shit, here's the army, one of the army guys that's been hunting me and fucking killing everybody else. He's the last person alive in the game by this point.
Yeah.
Everybody gets wiped out really fucking quick. All the guys he spent the nice romantic dinner with to celebrate the wedding, they're all fucking dead. And so now he's looking up at the guy, and it's like, oh, shit, I'm super dead. I got crazies down here. I got the guy up there.
Kill me immediately.
I'm toast. So he's like coming to grips with his death, but then the army guy, the hunter dude, puts his arm down, and he can't decide whether he's going to take it or not. But fuck it. It's either crazies or this one guy.
I pulled up there. Maybe I got a chance to fight my way out of this versus the cabal of crazy people who I only managed to take out about 30% of this village pommel horse style.
He gets up on the roof, and there's the dude, and they're staring at each other, and he's like, oh, shit, I got to fight him. And here's the twist. The army guy
is Bruce Willis, who has been dead the entire movie. Shyamalan. You've been Shyamalan, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, Jesus.
The army guy.
The army guy takes off
his father.
He takes off his hat, and it's his dad,
who is Darth Vader. Shyamalan twist. You've been Deepak Chakra. Now we have a running gag for the podcast.
I think we got a few.
Did this give you some serious feels as a young man?
Yeah.
The dad coming
like,
out of...
Well, my dad wasn't
I
around,
can see,
so.
this really relating to you
like, holy shit,
specifically.
The dad's still alive, and, fuck it. Like, that's really cool. And then the dad saves the son. But the dad's still injured from his rock fall from the beginning of the movie.
Oh, yeah. Those
a year
are
later.
Vicious.
Yeah.
I mean, they did a good job at throwing dummies 3 stories down onto rocks, which happens repeated. It happens as much as people run through a hallway or an alley in this movie. So 40% of the movie is a dummy landing on rocks, and another 40% of the movie is people running through. And then the other, 20% we got left here? Yeah, it's 20% of the movie.
I don't even know it's 20%, because they start...
karate, gymnastics, fusion, or a dinner.
Yeah.
Or explanations of the game. That's a good 3% of the movie. Because actually, at the end of the movie, if you watch all the way through the credit sequence, you know how Marvel will often have like a thing at the end of the credits to sell you another movie? Mel Brooks pops up again and re-explains the game in the movie to you. This time with like a 3D model, and he's walking around, and he's like chroma keyed in, walking around, and here's where the town of crazy people is. Isn't that nutty? I'm not actually Mel Brooks, by the way. I just look a lot like him, and oddly enough, this is the only thing I've ever done.
I mean, and the movie's pretty much done at that point. That's the fucking weird thing, because they kind of...
he somehow has to kill the husband of his...
No, he killed him in the pig pen. Or he
Oh.
stabbed him with a pitchfork in the pig pen of the town of Crazies.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And everyone else was wiped out. That's where actually the last surviving helper buddy, the guy in the orange leotard that was kind of his buddy trying to help him through the thing, he dies in the pig pen completely. But then he gets stabbed. You know, the baddie takes a lot of damage before he catches up. And
I've been fairly hard on you about this movie. Because, like I said initially, I saw it at a very strange point in my week.
Yeah.
And in my life in general, I'm like, I'm so overworked, and I can't believe I'm watching this first movie that Rusty picked, like straight up picked, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've been dominating the movie selection.
Yeah.
Totally
I've had other ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want my birthday month to be something. I want to.
Oh yeah. We got stuff going.
I'm gonna do the chick move and say I have a birthday month, not just a week, not just a day.
I have a birthday year every year. So yeah.
You haven't noticed that? Women going, like, if their birthday lands on a Tuesday, all of a sudden they get the entire week to fucking party.
Yeah.
You ever noticed?
I'm narcissists. Yeah.
All right.
I'm not calling all women narcissists. I'm not even going to say that all narcissists are women.
It's after that, I mean, they pretty much make it back to the town. His dad dies, though. His dad takes an arrow for him.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. From the big baddie, and then he kicks the shit out of the big
and then he
baddie.
gets him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finally kills him. Because you think the big baddie's dead like 9 times.
The
He's
best
fucking Terminator.
thing about this horrible movie is that they pretend at the end that it's a retelling of a true story. There is it freeze frames at the end, and then it cuts to black, and it says that we actually got an early warning missile system installed in this fictional country.
Yeah.
Which, if you're 8, you probably thought was true.
I probably would have believed
someone's gymnastics karate father murdered in front of his fucking eyes 2 seconds after finding out his dad was still alive.
So here's the mind-blowing part to this movie out of all of it, I think. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The guy that directed this directed Enter the Dragon. The fucking amazing Bruce Lee movie.
Well, here's the thing.
How?
The fighting in this is not bad. It's because he wanted to direct movies, and they go, we got this fucking thing, and he's like, I'll fucking do it. And he did it. And he somehow lived it down. Or he was an affable enough guy. I mean, a lot of show business has to do with your personality, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, if you were to direct this, and you go to Hollywood and you've directed this, and people are like, you're going around saying, I want to direct something. People are like, what have you done? You go, Gymkata. They will bullshit you like Gymkata was the best thing that you, whether or not they want to work with you even. Like, so much of show business, because show business is, if you're in show business, you're almost always in show business. You don't 9 to 5 it, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's horrible production schedules for movies and shit, but if you're in show business and you're in the industry city, which is LA, and you're hanging out with industry people, they'll fucking lie to you.
Yeah.
Because your personal life and your business life are like the same fucking thing. And so they'll lie to you, and then maybe they'll talk to you for a while, and maybe they'll lie to you, and you go, I directed Gymkata. You go, Gymkata's great. I don't know why it didn't win an Oscar. And you go, I appreciate you saying that.
But
that's really
full of shit.
I would say that, but I've not gotten very far in my entertainment career. But I would totally say something like that always, and I often feel that when I say that to people, that they really get upset that I'm not accepting the compliment. But if you were tactful and said, I directed Gymkata, Gymkata's great. It wasn't, but if you look at these 3 or 4 things I did in the course of Gymkata, that's what I had, and I'm a person who, the opportunity came, and I did it, and you convince somebody of that, you can move up in a career, even though, I mean,
it's not like
I listened to another podcast called Down in Front, which is great. Not so great that you should go listen to it right now. Like, wait till this is over, because what we're going to do later is great. We'll get to that Jew black cabal banker thing and finally start telling the truth. It's going to be really good. And there's a guy on that podcast who's worked on amazing films, and he came to L.A. His name's Trey Stokes, and he came to L.A. after seeing Star Wars as a kid. He goes, that's what I want to do, which a lot of people did, right? I want to do that. And he got to L.A., and I'm going to butcher his life story a little bit, but puppetry was what he was really into. And he got to work on The Abyss. He's one of the main puppeteers on The Abyss.
Fucking movie.
He was a visual effects supervisor for Starship Troopers.
Nice.
Which is a amazingly well done On the visual effects side, people
That's a
have their
great
different
movie.
opinions. Yeah, people don't understand the movie often. They
Yeah.
think it's a bad movie.
Yeah, but there's a
but
book.
it's an amazing. The book is a fascist fucking call to fucking horribleness.
Yeah.
And the movie is making fun of the book,
Yes.
which is amazing. And the visual effects in that movie,
In
which
such great
Trey
ways.
Stokes worked on,
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
he was a puppeteer who applied all that knowledge to the CGI in that movie and gave the
Which still to
CGI
this
in that
day-
movie gravity and things like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you look at that movie today and you're like, this was made a year ago.
Yeah.
And it's great. And he has directed films for the Asylum because you need to work.
Yeah.
You go, hey, I want you to direct Gymkata. If you're not already Steven Spielberg,
Yeah.
I will direct Gymkata.
Yeah.
Maybe it's going to weigh me down a little bit, but it's going to teach me which lens to put on a camera when I need someone to palm a horse,
Yeah.
30 or 40 people.
I think-
And what can I work with a good cinematographer or something like that?
Yeah.
Can I make a movie that even if someone hates it so much they put it at 1.6 speed, they could still follow what's going on? Successful in that, you know?
And it got fucking released on DVD. There's a lot of 80s movies that got lost. And, like, to me, I
Well,
go,
there is a
the worst.
apocalypse of film
yeah.
happening as we speak, as VHS wears out and
Yeah.
things never got transferred. Things that don't exist on film or existed on film, then were made into video,
Yeah.
and the film was trashed. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
so
it's
much
burning up.
we'll never know.
Like, you say this is a bad movie, but then I go back and I go, okay, but Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is a fucking abortion to me.
Oh, really?
I never liked it. I liked the ant part, actually.
Oh, yeah?
The ant chasing shit is awesome, but it just wasn't funny to me. It didn't hit anything. But for some reason, I like Gymkata's better than Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was one of the few things I was allowed to watch, right? Like, there's a few movies that you could watch. 80s kid, fundamentalist parents could not watch a lot of things. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Like I talked before, Ghostbusters, for some fucking reason, I got to stay up and watch. With the whole extended family and everything, we were in Wenatchee, got to watch Ghostbusters. They probably attribute everything, marrying a lesbian, being a stand-up comedian, all the drugs I've done.
It probably had
doing
nothing
right
to do
now.
with the repressive
Right.
religious system.
Oh, yeah, totally no.
Whew.
No, not the horrible domestic violence childhood. No,
Yeah.
that's not it. Not the idea that you're broken from the moment you're born, and us as your parents thinking that. That's not what fucked you up.
That's yeah.
But I'm going to give you a pass on this because I believe that every American and every person in the world gets to have at least 7 or 72 bad kung fu movies that they love.
Oh yeah.
Because there are so many bad kung fu movies.
Or just horrible.
I like Sidekicks. That was one I was allowed to watch. You remember
Yeah.
that one?
Yep.
Where a kid has a fictional Chuck Norris guiding his Chuck Norris as a life coach? Talk about a bad fucking idea. That motherfucker's insane creationist fucking redneck asshole. Fuck him.
And part of the cabal.
3 Ninjas. Yeah.
3 Ninjas. See, yeah, I gotta play. I think it was just all kung fu movies.
Mhm.
I couldn't see a bad one.
Dude, the whole band, the Wu-Tang Clan, is based on bad kung fu movies,
Yeah.
and they're one of the greatest bands that ever existed. Don't even have an instrument. That's how good they are. It's all spoken word set
Yeah.
to beats. Like, yeah, karate, Shaolin style,
I remember. Did you
drunken
ever see?
style.
I see. I love the other the old Chinese or Japanese. Well, it was mainly Chinese kung fu movies that came out. They were just pumping them out in the 70s like nuts. There was one I saw, and I don't know. Maybe if you've heard it or seen it, I'm not really sure. There's one where each of the guys has a weird technique. It's like 4 brothers or something. There's one where this guy's indestructible. He was known as the Frog. Like they could put him in an Iron Maiden, but his skin
I have
is
not
completely.
seen this.
It's so crazy.
I remember, so we're West Coast kids.
Yeah.
The Tacoma Boys, they call us.
Do they?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
nobody
All right.
does that, no.
Well, now they're going to start.
I hope so. Yeah, we've got the freshest produce. Here, oh, now we've done a joke that half of the world,
Completely
if we've
fucking
actually
inside.
brought people in from the Northwest Convergence Zone and they got through the racist rant, they're like, what do they mean the freshest produce? They go, we're not going to tell you.
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
You come here, live here, and learn it.
Don't
And
come to
please
Tacoma. We
bring-
like it how
no,
it is.
No, come here
Unless
with like
you're
some
chill.
tech job so I don't need to commute
Yeah.
anymore. What was I talking about?
They call us Tacoma Boys.
I don't know before that. So the availability of hardcore kung fu movies
Yeah.
over here. I mean, we had the Karate Kid, right? That was like
Yeah.
a big launching pad
It's
for.
not a hardcore karate movie.
No. But
But
I
that
mean,
was-
it's a thing that got a lot of people into it. But in New York, The reason you have the Wu-Tang Clan is because they had some weird local station in the New York area that would do a kung fu theater.
Yeah, they have Chinese theater.
Yeah, we didn't have that. We had Dialing for Dollars. You know, a syndicated local host guy would show up in the daytime, and it would show a really bad movie that probably had like Ronald Reagan in it or something. And we're dialing for dollars. I hope this bored housewife is watching. No, I'm not.
I feel like they got lucky because they had tons of theaters.
You also had to deal with living in New York in the 80s. Like, it was rough.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
New York is every piece of culture you could ever want.
Plus, if you gotta
exists
learn-
there, except now for smoking indoors. They were the first one.
I mean, of course, you've seen The Warriors, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a documentary about the actual gangs that were based from the Warriors movie.
To make the Warriors,
Yes.
they hung out with gang members.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
It was-
gang members were like, if you're not like portraying us in the right way, we're just going to start stabbing motherfuckers. Like the 70s and the 80s were hard.
But it was like block by block in New York. It was like...
It was a whole different world. It was New York and LA, the two major American cities, very contained, and a million different cultures in both of them.
Yeah.
And an experience you can't relate to unless you buy every album Tupac ever made.
And Biggie.
Yeah, and Biggie too. Yeah.
Just to get the East Coast feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm owning this movie. I love this movie.
I love
Not
that
so
you
much
love
that
it.
I'll buy it.
I'm happy that you forced me to watch this. I do enjoy that you enjoy something. You know what I mean? Like, it's good. I can't hate it so much because I do believe that Kung Fu is one of the universal languages. There's music, there's comedy, there's mathematics, and there's kicking a motherfucker's ass in an elegant way on screen. And if you add a pommel horse, you know, it might take a little bit for me to get there, but
It's
I
a game
appreciate you
changer.
doing it. Yeah, I appreciate every Jackie Chan movie. Every single one of them is bad. They're all demonstrably bad movies. They might follow the story form or whatever, but they're Charlie Chan-ish, but they're fucking great movies.
Yeah.
They're so good because it
And
is a
they're
man
funny.
at the top of his game.
They're fucking
so
funny.
many of them. They're so funny, and it's a
Yeah.
guy who loves what he's doing. And the reason I think this endures, aside from the nostalgia dollars you're giving it, right?
Yeah.
Like you have some nostalgia with it, is that this guy is like, what? I can't be in the Olympics. I'll make a movie where I use my talent and also karate to kick Russians in the face. He loves it. He loves what he's doing in this movie. That's the little bit of charm in it that really makes it stick. Because there's 1,000 bad movies, right? There's so many of them, but
What's another bad movie? What do you think? Okay.
Another bad movie that with that tone I couldn't come up with because there's bad movie. Okay, let's say
I mean, he got
Goblin 2 or whatever. Hobgoblin,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that endures, right? Because the guy who made it, the crazy director from, was it Italy? I think it was Italy who made that.
I've never seen Goblin 2.
I don't think I'm even nailing the name, honestly.
Okay. You mean Leprechaun?
It's not Leprechaun, no.
No, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
But
Oh,
maybe
it's so
Goblin.
bad.
Oh, wait. I think you're right.
There's movies made about how bad this movie is and the fandom behind it.
Yes.
But there is so much of a person's soul poured into that movie.
Yeah. I think that's oh yeah, because I've seen the documentary actually, and I think it is Goblin 2. Because the lead actor ends up being a dentist or something, right?
Mhm.
Later on, I've seen the documentary of it, but I haven't seen the movie.
Oh, and it has that such a weird part where he's at a convention and he's not getting the love he feels he should get.
Yeah.
And he starts insulting all the people at the convention. Then he realizes he is one of those people stuck 20, and he just
Freezes their
yeah,
pants.
he realizes
Holy shit!
that when you have a breakthrough moment on acid, you're like, that's an amazingly honest, oh my God, everything I said applies to me kind of moment. And
Is there another besides? Okay, excluding horror, go action.
mm-hmm.
Go action, and it doesn't have to be in this genre necessarily. It doesn't have to be in the fighting Russians
karate thing.
But yeah, what's another horrible? What movie is worse than this in that kung fu style?
You said, oh, it needs to be kung fu?
Yeah, in the action sense.
That has that love poured into it?
That just name another horrible movie. I'm trying to quiz you here.
A horrible movie that resonates with people because the people involved in it are insane and think they're great, which is kind of what I'm saying about this movie, is The Room.
Oh, yeah.
Is exactly that. There's a bunch of them. The Room, and then there's also like the Birdemic thing. But the Birdemic guy, when I watch interviews with him, I'm like, is he figured out the formula? It's by a guy who's also not American. Like the Room guy's not American, right? The Room guy's like, we don't know where he's from. He just materialized one day,
born in a room somewhere.
It just like little sparkle magic, and he just showed up and made this movie, and now he's trying to pretend that it was a comedy all along. But Birdemic is made by, and I wish I knew his race because I don't want to say an Oriental or an Asian because as a white person, if I actually identify someone's race, I feel like a racist at this point, our development as a society. But he's a foreigner who showed up and he made this Birdemic movie, which is really bad. The birds in it are animated GIFs.
Oh.
And he claims to be a person who loves the movie The Birds, which is a cinematic masterpiece.
See, everyone says that, and I don't like
I watched it. And see, now I'm going to use your defense. I call it the Rusty defense, where it's Hitchcock, right?
It's just good because it's good.
Well, I watched it as a kid, and I wasn't allowed. Man, this is the theme of the podcast. It's like, I'm doing a podcast because no one ever let me watch movies. Now I've seen all of them.
That kind of is.
Yeah, it's kind of the thing. But so The Birds is one of the few horror movies. Oh, Mom, I want to watch something scary. Well, you've seen every Shirley Temple and that horrible Sound of Music thing, which is terrifying. So many times I'll rent you The Birds because Hitchcock's horror does not involve a lot of blood.
Yeah.
Sex on screen never happens because they had the code. So The Birds, and it's the plot of The Birds is, hey, what if all the birds in the world decided
to attack?
Fuck humanity?
Yeah.
Which it never gives a reason either, which is a great thing I think in a horror movie. It never actually addresses why
they went nuts.
Yeah.
Maybe like The Core.
So
you ever see The Core?
Birdemic is a movie made by someone who I think it's an act, honestly, when I watch interviews with him. But he seems like a very aloof, foreign Asian person. I think he's Korean or something, who came here, somehow got to make a movie, got enough money, and made a horrible copycat version of The Birds. Like stock gun flash effects from iMovie. And
so you say he
really
was,
bad actors.
He was.
I'm saying he's where it's like it's getting weird. But The Room guy, if you just discount everything, he's like it's a comedy, haha. No, like he seriously believed it, and somehow that weirdness translates into something that is infinitely rewatchable, just to try and puzzle out the insanity.
Yeah.
Because you've seen The Room, right?
Nope.
No, I have the riff tracks of it.
All right.
It is money. Like it is so weird, and even with the riff tracks guys, the MST3K guys, making fun of it, it's still just utterly fucking bizarre. Well, it's so compelling in its insanity. Like we both like dating crazy people, right?
Well, there's that.
Yeah, and there is something compelling about someone who's like, there's a limit. I think I've found mine, but insanity is interesting. The Joker is the most popular comic book villain in the world ever for a good reason. Impenetrable insanity is very interesting.
I just think everyone's inherently afraid of going nuts.
Yeah?
I think so. I mean, if you really think about it, what the most scary thing in my head ever is losing my mind. Yeah. That's worse than all of it. Your grasp on reality slips even a little bit. Like you take some acid, take some mushrooms, you know it's going to end when you take it.
Well, that's everyone's first trip, right? Where you're, is this never going to stop?
But it will end.
But you don't know, right? Yeah. When you get your first hallucinogenic trip, and you realize about the black Jewish banking cabal that will ultimately, like, why is there less opportunity for white people?
Hopefully nobody slipped it to you, like, fuck you.
No. When I took...
You knew it was going to happen, and you were explained that it ends.
I took mushrooms for the first time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm an asshole. Every time I do a drug, I act like I've done it a lot, so I get more of it.
So you just do...
Yeah, I took like 8 grams the first time I did mushrooms.
Good times.
And it was with a friend of the podcast, Jenna. Bleep. We'll bleep out the rest of her name. And and we get about an hour into like the train of reality has jumped the tracks and gone off to where Willy Wonka drives that boat through. We are out in the woods, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, whoa. And I go, by the way, I've never done this before. And she got so fucking mad at me because I
It's
tricked her into
understandable.
giving me like 3 doses of
Yeah, yeah.
mushrooms. Yeah. And then I spent a good hour thinking that I was going to be high forever. And an hour on mushrooms, kids, do drugs. An hour on mushrooms feels like 3 to 5 hours in real life sometimes when you get that time dilation going. And I had a vision of my family just having me like in a corner with like a hamster feeder that would give me food. And like, that's Jeremy now. He's just over there thinking big thoughts but unable to express them.
And imagine that, like, that's got to be your biggest fear. In my head,
that's a terrifying
that's
idea
a
to me.
human fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
That if you get old, like my mom, she's an older lady.
Mm-hmm. It'd be weirder if she was younger than you.
It's not that she's a very sharp lady and her mind's kind of going. Not quite Alzheimer's or anything, just that normal kind of age slipping thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you see it, you can tell in her eyes, she's so afraid of that.
That's the worst.
I've
had to babysit people with Alzheimer's. Like, I've had that foisted upon me in my daily life. I don't know. I'm very trustable, apparently.
You seem to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't let you babysit my kid, but...
Well, your kid's 14. She doesn't need a babysitter, you overprotective cunt.
I think that's the base fear. I think, like...
Being around that, it's like, I would rather be dead than not have a grip on reality at all.
Yeah.
To just be a widget wandering around the world, like
that's
an ornament that we keep around to keep us happy.
You think when people go, "Oh, I'm afraid of spiders," I was like, "Okay, but what if you lose your mind and your head just creates a room full of spiders wherever the fuck you go? Because your fucking head can do that to you. There's so much more going on up there.
Well, it's all in your brain.
Yeah,
all the perceptions.
Every fucking bit of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, when it gets to horror movies, I think, or just movies in general, where it's a mind meld kind of, it's a trip.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you go like fucking Pan's Labyrinth.
You're saying the people who like The Room on the ironic hipster level, where the word irony means fucking everything. Yeah, I don't know how to express what I actually think about something. I'll just use the word ironic. Fuck you, sleeve tattoos and your ear gauges and your fucking coffee shop job. Fuck off.
Leave your ear gauges alone.
Fucking Ruby programming degree, but you're working at Starbucks because it's ironic. It's not ironic. You're a disappointment to your mother. Get your shit together.
They have great medical.
Huh? To Starbucks?
Yeah.
I'd rather work at Starbucks than do my job. It doesn't matter. Oh, Rusty gave me a time thing, and now I'm talking to the laptop as if people are at the other end of it. Rusty gave me a time thing, but we're past the Northwest Convergence Zone start.
Oh, no, I know.
So you're just worried about getting home.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, what do you have? Oh, so the reason people might be like,
I think
interested...
that Vicodin kicked in, didn't it?
What?
That Vicodin kicked in?
Don't tell about the Vicodin.
How about the beer?
Huh? Beer is complimenting the Vicodin.
I was like, I'd let you go off about the weird...
I did have a point. I was working towards a point.
Were you?
Yeah.
Okay. You lost me.
I think at a base level, when you put The Room in, and you're like, this is an amazingly bad piece of art, but there's something compelling about it, you might be right that is like, what if I was so fucking out of touch that I made a movie this bad and released it?
Yeah.
Like, as a stand-up comedian, Comics on Film, that's the podcast, right? Rated80s presents Comics on Film.
Yeah.
As a stand-up comedian, up until a few years ago when Michael Richards ruined it for everyone, what you did only existed in that moment, right?
Yeah.
You hear actors talk about this a lot where they're like, I like to make movies, they pay a lot of money, but I love the theater because there's a magical thought behind doing something that only exists while I'm doing it.
Yeah.
With stand-up comedy, yeah, it's complete. I can go fucking balls out crazy.
Yeah.
But if I'm balls out crazy and I make a YouTube series that just shows that I'm balls out crazy, if it's up for more than 2 hours, it's up forever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think you might be right. When someone likes Gymkata, they're like, I like Gymkata because I'm not a person who's stupid enough to think that a gymnastics means kung fu to topple communism by kicking gypsies in the face and kicking a man off a bike. And then you bang a chick who's not even the same race as her dad. What the fuck is up with this movie? All right, we got to wrap this.
Right.
You have a life to live, apparently.
So do you.
Yeah? Yeah, but I'm not going to go to work tomorrow.
Oh, lucky bastard.
Yeah. No, it's not lucky. I'm on the Vicodin because my arm is dying at my side from podcasting too hard.
I made it sound like he's a pill popper, and he's not. He just does acid and mushrooms. Which I can't say that I don't either. You know. Yeah. I love hallucinogens.
All right. Name
All right.
2 more bad movies involving some sort of martial art that you enjoy.
Bad movies?
Bad movies. Now, Karate Kid's a good movie, so you can't go Karate
See,
Kid.
that's the hard thing. Because if it has martial arts,
Instantly it's
I
good.
kind of like it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Kung
give
Fu Wedding 3.
No. Karate Kid 4. With
Which
the
one
chick.
is 4? Oh, the next Karate Kid.
No. The next Karate Kid was... Or no, yeah, you're right.
Next
It is
Karate
Next
Kid.
Karate Kid.
Shyamalan, Deepak Chakra, Tupac Shakur twist. It's a girl.
Yep.
What?
Horrible.
Yeah.
Not. See, I like Hilary Swank, though. She's cool.
Did she get a nose job since that movie? Oh, she's
But
been in some
fucking-
other movies where
wasn't
she
she
punches
$1 Million
people.
Baby?
Yeah.
It was a great
Yeah,
fucking movie.
She's I never
got-
made that connection. That's the same chick.
Yeah, she got the Academy Award for that, too.
Mhm. Oh,
So,
she should.
Yeah, it was a great flick. That's a horror. I didn't like the next Karate Kid. That was just like, oh, you're just trying to get a paycheck.
I
and
wonder
that, you
how
know?
many, like, they become like Rockies, like how many Karate Kids we might have to endure at this point. The last one, karate, is established as an Okinawan martial art, which is true. And the Jackie Chan one is in China.
Oh yeah, and he teaches them. Have you seen You've seen that one, right?
Yeah, enough of it to know that Jaden.
No, because they make a joke about it. Because the kid keeps calling it
I've seen a
karate,
little
and
bit
Jackie
of it.
Chan's like it's kung fu.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Oh,
what
he
are you
keeps
talking?
going,
Yeah, they did it well. Honestly, I liked it. I mean,
I've seen enough of good. Yeah, it's legit, and the action in it when they have the tournament is that kid's getting his ass kicked.
yeah.
Like he should in a movie. Let's not treat children like they're fucking bullshit and they'll all
It's-
get PTSD.
And it's a different fucking country, so they don't have that outlook anyways. He's
Yeah.
just there.
Oh, PTSD finds its own level.
Yeah.
No matter how much you coddle a child, it will get PTSD.
I cannot think of I'm trying to think of another.
I got Sidekicks was my jam as a kid,
Yeah.
which is the movie where he had a mythical Walker Texas Ranger
Yeah, he wanted
coaching
to be,
him
Yeah,
to fight his bullies. This is a horrible Karate Kid ripoff, but it's like they'll let me watch it, and it's got karate in it, and also Three Ninjas. I was down with Three Ninjas.
see, but those are all under the kids movie
Mm-hmm.
part. I'm trying to think of like a serious.
Well, yeah, this was kind of made for adults. Yeah.
Yeah. Keep trying to think. Like The Last Dragon, some people really don't like that movie, and I think it is one of the best fucking movies ever made. I will go on
The
a limb.
Last Dragon, in terms of like
It's on my
a
top 20.
rated 80s thing that will
Easy.
pop up in your development at some point
Mhm.
as an 80s kid, you know? Because us 80s kids, you millennial cunts, us 80s kids.
Hold on. First of all, technically, you were born in what year?
What year is it now?
What year were you?
Oh,
What
it's
year?
1980. I'm Gen X. I'm
No,
claiming Gen
no.
X. Gen
But
Y?
millennials,
Mm-hmm.
they've pushed. I just learned this like 2 days
Oh,
ago.
no. Here's the thing.
Apparently, we're fucking
If-
millennials, sir.
If you look it up on Wikipedia, there's no generally accepted definition of a generation at all.
No.
I'm actually, what's the generation where women got to vote? That's the one I'm going with. I'm a flapper
Women can vote?
in Canada.
No, but there's no. They pushed it to it's 78.
There's no definitive authority on it.
I know,
get to
but
go,
this is the
listen, I saw Reality Bites.
Yep.
Gen X. I'm Gen X.
Okay.
I'm Gen X. I can relate to Janine Garofalo in Reality Bites. I get to go Gen X. And then there was Gen Y, and now there's Generation ADD, which we call the millennials.
All right.
Mhm.
I'm just saying that's what they're trying to push that now.
Mhm.
Which
Who?
I will
There's
rail
no
against
standards body.
it. The fucking
for-
internet's. I
Well,
don't know why you're arguing with me like I made the fucking rule.
there
it just-
literally is no rule.
I know-
That's where I'm arguing with you.
I know that part.
Yeah.
There's no rule, but I was bringing up my
Well,
frustration.
you bring the internet here and kill it before me, because I will not have this.
I was bringing up my frustration with them trying to lump us in with them little those fuckheads.
Yeah, they're going to ruin
That's what I'm saying.
everything with their political involvement and their Bernie Sanders.
But there's also this theory I also got with.
I'm not a
with
millennial because no one ever supported any decision I made until I was 24. So fuck that shit, all right? No one ever... They said you're special, just like everyone else. Deal with it. That's how... And now they're like, you're all individually special on your own, and people should listen to you all the time. And if someone doesn't listen to you, then you should slit your wrist to make a point about how they're not listening to you. Fuck.
I think
I'm
it keeps
different
going around in
generation.
circles. I think it keeps going around in circles because you got like, okay, so So the generation that raised, the 60 kids coming up,
Mm-hmm.
they were like, lollipop, lollipop, this, that old pop stuff, and nothing was even really taboo or talked about. It just, people had neighborhoods where they mowed their fucking lawns and white picket fence.
Well,
American
definitely
Dream
the
shit.
boomers were
And
rebelling
then,
against.
right after that, those people fucking raised the people in the 60s. The 60s, everyone lost their fucking mind, right?
Mhm.
Everyone did, free love and everything or there were fucking gang wars and everything else going on in the time in New York and massive amounts of violence mixed with massive amounts of free love shit. And that generation kind of went off the rails. The 70s, everyone kind of calmed down for a bit, half of them. The other half went way fucking coke-addled. I think it just keeps going like decent generation, horrible generation, decent generation, horrible generation, because those generations raise other people.
I would take issue with that and say a generation removed can look 2 generations back and relate more.
Yeah.
So grandparents are less abusive to their grandchildren than parents are to their children because you have a sine wave of society. Like,
And you might just feel bad at how fucked up you messed your kids, so you're going to
well, and then so you try and make better. I think society's getting better. I'm an optimist as much as I am a pessimist, which is a lot. So I'm an optimist in saying, you know what? If you were to chart society, you make a cutoff date where you're like, okay, at this point we figured out the wheel or fire or something fairly universal to all society. I guess the wheel's a bad example because it was not on this continent.
Yeah.
But at this point, people have developed to this point here, and wherever you start, wherever you make that cutoff, there's going to be a lot of slavery.
Yeah.
And we've gotten rid of slavery, and then I say we've gotten rid of slavery. In the civilized world, slavery is illegal. It still exists, obviously, even in the civilized world. But, I mean, there has been a moral movement up in this direction on so many topics. And so, every generation thinks that their spawn is Satan. I get it. That's why I don't have kids, so I don't have to hate anyone.
See, that's I raise a kid, and it's so weird to see, she's so much better than I was. And I don't know
because morals have evolved, and we were talking about how the internet has connected people and it has accelerated social evolution.
Yeah.
Massively. It's also accelerated your crazy Aunt Betty's ability to tell you that Canada has death camps in their healthcare system, which is a lie. But in general, it has accelerated our social evolution. So if you lived in Missoula, Montana 40 years ago, you have never met an openly gay person.
Okay,
and an openly gay person was some sort of demon, Nogzul, unicorn thing that you're told, these live in the city, and if you go to the city, they're going to try and have sex with you.
Yeah.
Well, now, as much as that idea may still exist, you have a way to find out that that's bullshit.
Yeah.
And also, if you get that email, Obama wants your guns and your daughters. He's going to marry all your daughters to black men, and he's going to make this place. He's Kenyan, and he's a communist, and a terrorist, and he's a Christian, and he's all these conflicting ideas.
I love how there's the ability to fact check, but then
there's the ability to fact check,
everyone
but
still believes a lot of the horse
There is
shit.
a big swarm of horrible facts out there to check. So it's a double-edged sword, but the edge of that sword is cutting towards utopia.
Yeah.
And utopia is a goal we'll never achieve, but we're moving towards, I have a dream where my children will not be judged by the color of their skin or the contents of their wallet, but their character.
Yeah.
So not your NRA card, not the color of your skin, but your character.
Yeah.
And your character, millennials, is an open book that you're posting to Facebook, and my dream will come true within your lifetime, actually.
Yeah.
So you better lock the privacy down if you're a bigot, because we are coming for you.
Yeah.
And you can keep your guns, because we have the nuclear weapons. We got the White House right now. And we're going to put Hillary Clinton, who's a horrible lizard person.
Yeah, we're not putting her in office. Please, no.
I don't vote. I don't want any part of
it.
Yeah.
You got tons of opinions for somebody that doesn't vote.
I just want to influence other people. I don't want to be responsible for anything they do. I'm like Satan. I'm like the little devil on the shoulder.
I just sell the guns, all right?
Yeah.
Other people shoot them.
If I had my way, they'd shoot blanks at each other and just buy more of my guns. Yeah, no. So Gymkata is a great movie.
It is.
Yeah.
I love it.
In terms of a Shyamalan twist, telegraph from
Pretty
the
good
first.
one.
Yeah, it's a
I
good
liked it.
twist.
Yeah.
It's good that we have that early warning station in Parmesan, so that we know when the nukes are coming over.
All right.
Yeah. We have talked ourselves.
Tired.
You tired?
I'm pretty tired.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, you gotta. Why should someone watch this movie if they've never seen it before?
It's just fun. And either way, even if you don't like it, even if it doesn't hit for you, first of all, pommel horse scene. You don't have to watch the whole movie. You just really need to go Town of Crazies into YouTube for Gymkata
and then
watch
after you get
that.
through all those Eastern Washington towns.
Yeah, the pommel horse scene is just great to me. You don't have to watch the whole thing, but I would implore, might as well. What else are you gonna fucking do? It's not if you like.
Yeah, what are you, a grad student working on cancer? Fuck off. Watch the pommel horse.
All right, turn off the fucking cat videos for once on YouTube and try to watch something better. It's why the fuck not?
To understand cinema, to understand the 80s and how fucking crazy it got.
Yeah, it's just fun.
To where we need to make a movie really bad.
I don't expect anyone.
We canceled the Olympics. Let's get the gymnast and make a movie around him. Like, okay, let's do that. Like,
Nobody that's going to listen to this podcast is going to. It's not a life changing movie. So
yeah.
just
We're
go
gonna
have
try
fun
and
with
do a
it.
life changing movie
We are.
next week.
Oh yes.
Reanimator.
All right. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Okay, hang on.
Oh,
Hang on. All right. Would you say this is rated 80s?
very much.
Yeah. Give me some reasons.
There's a shit ton of bullets in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
There's the big baddie who's oversized and overused.
Yeah, he's a video game boss. This movie is a video game. This is like Dead Heat.
Yeah.
The movie that you hate me for. This is a movie that's like, this would work so good as a video game. If it was self-aware, this would be a great video game.
Yeah.
And that is one of the many, many definitions of being rated 80s. Yeah.
I think so.
All right.
Hockey hair. That's another reason.
Oh, yeah. He looks like a young MacGyver.
Yeah, there's many, many reasons.
All right. Thank you guys very much for listening. We'll be back next week with what movie, Rusty?
Schindler's List.
Fuck me.